Now jump forward a bit and talk about what these core elements actually are. Now, I said to you before, I said, watch, I said there's definitely 3, right? And very often there are 5 elements in play, but there's always 3. So watch, let me go back to the beginning. I made this statement. Every sale is the same. This is a foundational statement of the straight line system, and it's what changed everything for people like you. Because once you understand what that really means, every sale is the same, it opens up a universe of possibilities. Because if every sale was different, holy Christ, how could you possibly have a formula to close everyone if every sale was different? The only way a formula is possible is if you could take this seemingly abstract, so unwieldy process of getting someone to say yes. If you could do that in the same way every time, wow, imagine how much easier that becomes to close, how much easier it becomes to become a top producer. That's how I took all these young kids back in the day and in the 30 years since then and turned them into multimillionaires, like I'm gonna do for you. Now again, it also requires that mindset of success, massive hard work, which will demand that you work really hard, especially these first 3 or 4 months when you're defining who you are in the workplace, because these next 3 months are gonna change your life. You have to work harder than you've ever worked, so we'll get to that later. But the point is the straight line is your blueprint. Let's start like this. Every sale is the same. Sales is goal-oriented communication, but what is selling? What's really happening? At the highest level, sales, you write this down, sales is the transference of emotion. You're transferring emotion. I can't fit it all here. I'm the worst. My handwriting is so bad you wouldn't understand anyway. You're transferring emotion. Sales, I'll repeat it again, is the transference of emotion. And the primary emotion that you're transferring is the emotion of certainty. The big C. Certainty. Meaning, certainty that your product is the absolute best fit for the prospect, best value proposition, has the best cost-benefit ratio. It's the best in terms of it's the one that's gonna resolve their pain, make them feel great. They can imagine themselves in the future using your product and feeling great. They're absolutely certain about that. So watch, you should have seen this in the video. This is a refresher. So what we have here with the straight line is we call it the continuum of certainty. The continuum of certainty. And a continuum is a fancy word for what? A line, a straight line, right? So watch, on your typical continuum, we rate things always from a scale of 1 to 10, right? With 1 typically being the worst, it sucks royally. I'll keep it clean here. I don't know why I shouldn't, but I'm gonna keep it clean just for today, right? I'll get dirty tomorrow, right? And a 10 means it's the absolute greatest thing since sliced bread. You'll love it. So imagine if you're selling automobiles and you said to your prospect, hey, so what do you think of the car? And they said, oh my God, it is the greatest car. I love this car. It's like, I just get in and I feel like $1 million. It's such a great value for the money. It's beautiful. It's rides so well. I just love this car. It's the best. Like that, right? That's, if I said to someone like, what do you think? And they said that, they would be at a 10 as it relates to the specific item, the car, right? If I would say to the prospect, hey, what do you think of this car? They say, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. I would never be caught dead in this car. It's ugly, it smells, it's disgusting to drive, it's bumpy, it's noisy, it makes me vomit when I hate, what an overpriced jalopy, I would never, that's a 1, right? You don't like that. So the question is this, it's obvious, where would you like this prospect who wants to buy a car, you want to sell them this car, where would you like them on this certainty scale when you ask for the order? Well, the answer should be obvious. You want them as close to a 10 as humanly possible. The closer they are to that 10, the better chance that you have that they're gonna say yes, right? That just makes sense, right? So question, Where are they when they enter the encounter? Imagine you're a car salesman. Let's say, okay, you're inside a dealership, you're an inside salesperson, someone walks into the dealership, okay, and the moment they meet you, you show them a car. You say, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And you show them that they're looking for a certain type of car, right? Doesn't matter which one. Say, well, here it is. And the moment they look at that car, question, where are they on the certainty scale at that instant? Some of you might be saying, well, they're probably at a 5 in the middle. Maybe they're at a 3 or 6. You know what the answer is? Who the fuck knows? How could you possibly know where they are? Unless you're Marvin the mind reader and you have some clairvoyant power that I don't know about, how could you possibly know where someone is? You don't know. But here's what you do know. You know they're somewhere. They're somewhere between a 1 and a 10. Why? Because they're human beings from planet Earth. They know about cars. They've seen something or heard something about this car. The instant they realize they're buying a car or a solar system, or they're shipping a package somewhere, or buying an insurance product, or borrowing money from someone, or doing anything else that requires, like, what do you think of XYZ product or service? The instant they realize that they're in a situation where they have to make a decision, like, what do you feel about this? Everything they've ever seen in their life, every prejudice they have, every preconceived notion, everything they've ever seen or heard on TV, their brain just says, you know what? I genuinely feel here. And they land somewhere on the certainty scale based on all of their preconceived notions and prejudices. Where exactly, you don't know, but they're somewhere because they're not from Mars. They're not like, car? What's a car? I never heard of cars. No, of course they know about cars. And as soon as they see it, their brains, they have a general feeling. That's true with every single product. And it's true whether that product is sold in person or over the phone. It doesn't matter, or online, or a combination thereof, right? So watch what's happening. Sales, I said, is what? It's the transference of emotion. And the emotion you're transferring is certainty, right? It's the primary emotion. So what happens is you, the salesperson, you must show up. You're in a state of absolute certainty. Why? Because you know how awesome your product or service is. You know how fairly priced it is, how much value it has, how it's gonna help the person. You've helped so many people in the past. You know your product is the best. You're in a state of absolute certainty. That's why you're selling and recommending the product. You know it's the best fit for them. They don't know that yet. They don't know all the things you know. They haven't done the research on your particular product. That's why they seek you out. You're the salesperson. You're the expert. You're gonna show them, you're gonna explain to them, tell them why this is the most awesome thing since sliced bread. So what happens is you're transferring this certainty that you feel inside. You're at an absolute 10, they're at some lower level of certainty. That creates a certainty gradient, a differential, and the things that you say, the certainty flows from you to the prospect, and they become absolutely certain. Your certainty almost, it rubs off on them, but the things that you say, the enthusiasm by which you say it, and they're like, wow, I get that. And they say, yes, this product is the best, and you make them certain. That's what you're doing when you sell. So let's say you do that successfully. Let's say you actually did that. Someone showed up at a 6. You're selling a car, you use a car, right? And you explain about the car, you even take them for a test drive, all the things that we do as a car salesperson. Again, I don't think there's any of you in this group, which is why it's perfect, right? And you get them to that point, and let's say they are financially qualified, they can afford the product, they need it. You get them to an absolute 10 on the certainty scale about the product. Question, will they buy? Yes or no? Now, you should have been through the training so you know the answer. The answer is not yes, although intuitively we might think it's yes, and it's not no. The answer is maybe, as in maybe they will, maybe they won't. Why? Because here's the deal. What if in the process of transferring the certainty for the product, what if you said something or did something, meaning in the way in which you went about making them more certain, made them not trust you anymore. You said something that pissed them off or tipped their hand that, this guy's not ethical, this girl's not ethical. Will they buy from you if they don't trust you and like you? Absolutely not. We never buy from people we don't trust, and we seldom buy from those we don't like, only in desperate situations. So the point is this: it's not enough that someone is absolutely certain about your product, meaning they're at a 10 for the product, 10 for the product. They must also be absolutely certain about you, a 10 for you. So this is your first 10, so watch. Now we have what's called the 3 10s. You have these 3 10s. The first one is they must love the product. Number 2, they must trust and connect with you, the salesperson. So what would it sound like if they totally trusted you? You say, hey, what do you think of that salesperson? Oh my God, they're the greatest. They're the most trustworthy. They're so just informative. They're nice people. I felt so comfortable. I never would deal with anybody. That's a 10 for the salesperson. They really took the time to explain. Oh, what do you think of that salesperson? What a lion-eating scumbag. I would never give that girl or guy even they probably steal my credit card and chip. That's a 1, right? So again, where do you want them when you ask for the order? As close to a 10 as possible. The third 10 is gonna be the company that stands behind the product. In other words, that it's not enough they just love the product and love the salesperson. There's a company that's gonna deliver the product, maintain it, do customer service, has a reputation. So the company itself has its own independent certainty scale. 1 meaning you hate the company, 10 meaning it's the best company out there, right? What you're doing as you move someone down the straight line, from the open to the close, what you're doing is you're trying to corral, meaning at the same moment in time, get them to a 10, 10, 10.